So I called her. And the conversation was a lot less agonizing than I thought. Hi, it's Ben. Yeah. Listen, I was wondering if you'd like to go out sometime? Yeah. 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 Okay, sounds great. Well, as you can tell, she seemed really keen. So I picked her up in my souped-up Plymouth Reliant, zebra skin with fuzzy dice. And we went to a restaurant that specialized exclusively in 80s decor, the Silver Spoon. I was determined not to let something as trivial as price get in the way of a retro good time. We were shown to our table, the Tootie booth to be precise, and things got underway. She had the Daisy Duke Deluxe. I had the Mort Burger Platter. If you ask me, we hit it off right away. Oh, earlier that evening, I had purchased some tickets to a Platinum Blonde concert after dinner, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be left standing in the dark, so to speak. I can't explain it, but I was getting this vibe. This vibe that kept saying to me, yes, Ben, she's into the 80s. She's the one for you. Small talk seemed to go pretty well, with a few prerequisite topics of conversation covered, number of members of the family, history of occupations, and a few of our favorite things covered in about the first 20 minutes or so. Oh, around the time the entrees were coming out, she told a really, really funny story. I can't remember how she started it because I was momentarily distracted at the time. I was trying to inconspicuously check a glimpse of my watch in a subtle and discreet way. Well, anyways, it was about some schmuck she must have read about from the Darwin Awards. You know the list I'm talking about. It's those lists of people who do really asinine things. They're examples of some of the stupidest members of the gene pool. Well, anyway, there was this guy who owned a motorhome who couldn't get his gas stove burning. So he turned the dials, turned them up in order to get some propane coming out. Nothing. Well, meanwhile, this guy has been smoking a cigarette, just sort of letting it dangle out of his mouth like. But he thinks to himself he'll use the cigarette to get something going. Nothing. Inspiration hits him like Jocko from the old Energizer battery commercials. He decides to get some lighter fluid. He turns the stuck cap, because it's a really old container, and he unscrews it, smells it, and puts the top back on partway. Then he bends down to check the propane levels with the container still in his hand. As he's bending, he accidentally squeezes the bottle, and a stream of fluid shoots up into his hair. Because he's still got the cigarette in his mouth, the fluid catches fire on its way, lighting his hair on fire. He drops the fluid and runs to the bathroom. His hair is flaming because of the amount of pomade he's got in it. He manages to get the fire out, but by now a huge, funny circle pattern has burned itself into his head. He decides, with the half of his hair singed, he comes back out of the bathroom, and he sees that the curtains next to the stove have caught on fire. Well, he runs to his fire extinguisher, but bumps into the fluid in the process, spilling it all over his pants. He falls forward into the burning curtain, only to have his pants immediately catch on fire. In his final desperate action, he tries to make it back to the bathroom in order to get the flames out, but he hits his head on the nearby fire extinguisher, knocking him out cold. He ends up burning to death inside the trailer. Can you believe it? What a putz! I think her story really helped break the ice because it kept me laughing a good 2 minutes after the fact. Things were definitely going smoothly. Well, after dinner, we went to catch the concert. We got to the John Hughes Auditorium in Perth. As I was fumbling to get the tickets out, a condom fell out of my wallet. Talk about embarrassing, right? Well, actually, turns out she didn't seem to be too upset by it. In fact, it might have been quite fortunate that I dropped that little romper, but more on that in a moment. We got to the ticket counter, and I find out the concert has been canceled. I think to myself, this is the end of the world. But this situation critical was about to resolve itself right away. Platinum Blonde had rescheduled for the next night. It would be the perfect opportunity for Mindy and I to see each other again soon. Anyway, as I was saying before, I was quite fortunate about the wallet incident because when I suggested that we might want to go back to my place, she said yes. The whole way back, I'm thinking, this is it. This could be the night, as Loverboy would say. We come in, and I can tell right away that she's impressed with the whole pad. Maybe it's the black light I purchased a few weeks back. Maybe it's the giant framed family ties poster on the wall, signed by Michael Gross and Tina Yothers. And by this point, I'm thinking, who cares? We are set to go. So I put on some tunes, a little mix that's bound to impress her. We're talking Cyndi Lauper, Sade, Sheena Easton, and some Bonnie Tyler. Can a man's intentions get any clearer? At this point, I'm putting the moves on fairly aggressive. We're all over each other like Nell Carter at a buffet table. Time seems to be standing still as Berlin is singing Take My Breath Away. But just then, her cell phone rings and I'm thinking, no! So she takes the call and I'm forced to cool my jets for the time being. I didn't want to overhear a conversation, but it was kind of hard not to. It went kind of like this. Oh, hi. Really? Tonight? Oh, no, I completely forgot. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but I don't really feel like... You're going to what? Oh, does it have to be tonight? Okay, fine. Well, at this point, she apologizes profusely, but she has to leave. There's something else she needs to take care of. Whatever. But I ask her if everything's okay, and she smiles sweetly, and she says yes. Well, I'm thinking that she's thinking that she thinks I'm sweet. So I offer to drive her back to her house. The sweet thing, But turns out she lives right across the street. So she left. But there was definitely a spark there. We were connecting. I think it's safe to say that this was an amazing first date. Her name was Mindy. And I was on a collision course with destiny.
I was on a collision course with destiny. And the very next morning, I saw Destiny in the window at JCPenney's. Destiny was a yellow sundress, perfectly proportioned with little pale blue flowers running down the front, and I knew that it would be perfect for Mindy. Yes, the very same Mindy. It must be love, mustn't it? For a guy to screw up so bad one night, and then the very next morning, want to spend $93.11 on a girl? It must be love, because I bought the dress and didn't even think about it. I didn't have $93.11, but I grabbed Mom's credit card on the way out the door. Figured I could pay her back when I mowed the cemetery. I got the dress, paid an extra $2, got it gift wrapped and everything, with a big blue bow on top. And I took out a pen and I wrote, "I'm sorry, Mindy, for all I've done. I wanted you to have this." For this mission, I put on my favorite new blue jeans. Bright blue and so snug you could stand them up in a corner by themselves. I bought a brand new shirt, just like the one Garth Brooks wore and ain't going down till the sun comes up, and I put on a bolo tie and everything. I don't mean to be a braggart, but I think I look pretty good. I even splashed on some of Grampy's cologne before I headed out the door. I stole Randy's car and headed over to Mindy's place. When I arrived there, Mindy was sitting in the porch swing out front. I guess she must have been home alone. She was just kind of painting her nails, and she had her hair up in a bun, was wearing pretty little earrings that looked like telephones. I thought to myself, she must be the most beautiful girl in the whole world. When she first saw me, she looked like she might scream and run away or something. But I was crafty. I pulled out the gift real quick, and then she just kind of got a curious look on her face and settled into the sofa. So I take the gift up to her, and I said, Mindy, I wanted you to have this, along with all apologies for any harm I might have caused you or your pappy. My who, she said? Oh, your father. Oh, yes, she said. But then she started opening the gift, pulling little strips off one at a time. And as she pulled each strip off, her face cracked into a bit more of a smile. Until when she finally lifted the lid, it was wearing what you might call a full-on smile. Is it okay, I asked, scared to death that she was going to ball the whole thing up and throw it back at my stinky ass. She just said, it looks nice. I'm going to go inside and try it on. I didn't want her to go inside and try it on. I wanted her to try it on right there in front of me. But I knew my night tonight was to be a gentleman. So I sat down and waited for her to come out. And come out she did, bounding into the pale light, all yellow sundresses, pretty blue flowers, smiles, and pearls. And I thought to myself, in that dress, she's the most beautiful girl in the whole world. Mindy, I said, I think you are the most beautiful girl in the whole world. She said, I don't know about that, but it feels all right. And then there was a bit of an awkward pause, and she asked again, it looks okay? I wanted to jump out of the swing, wrap my arms around her in a bear hug and say, yes, it's perfect. I want to marry you. I didn't say that. Instead, I just said, it looks good. Have a seat. So she sat down beside me, and I apologized again for farting in front of her. She told me she actually thought it was kind of funny, though surprising. And that kicking me out had been all her dad's doing. Apparently, her father had found out about the date, and he didn't want her to go at all because I'm not Catholic. She even apologized for her father's rude call. Well, with that out of the way, I put my arm around her, and we started talking and laughing and going on. We must have talked for hours. Well, I mean, look at here it is, 2 a.m., and I'm still wired just from seeing her. Before I left, she asked me, she said, is it all right if I hug you? And I'm not real experienced with such things, but I said, sure. And she wrapped her arms around me, and that felt about as good as anything I've ever felt. And just before I left, she put a little peck on my cheek. And that felt the best, maybe better. I remember I asked her, I said, you don't think I suck because of my farting and I don't have any money and my car sucks? She said, nah, none of that matters. I think you're wonderful. Well, any girl that can say that about me must be the most intensely and insanely wonderful girl in the whole world, inside and outside. I never wanted to leave her side. But when I got home, about an hour ago, there was a message on my machine. All it said was, sweet dreams, Luke. I'm going